Welcome back. All right, a little different today. I don't need the whiteboard for this. There wasn't any traders last night, so what's up with that? My favorite show, Traders Canada, and they skipped a week. Whatever. So, I'm guessing it's probably World Series related. I don't really care, but it was preempted last night. So, I wanted to talk about a movie I watched last week, and this movie came out a couple years ago, but I'm going to get into spoilers talking about it. So, I wanted to let people know if you haven't seen it, you're thinking about seeing it. The Black Phone's I think it's a good movie. And I'm saying I think because I'll go through why. Like, I'm not sure. I think it's a good movie. So, The Black Phone is a pretty simple tale. And when I saw the trailer for that, I was like, okay, Ethan Hawke's the bad guy. Check. Dark, foreboding kind of atmosphere to this. Check. It's a throwback to like set in the 1970s. Okay. There were a lot of things I looked at and said, okay, I want to see this. This looks different. And the the movie is different and it has its creepy moments, but there was a problem I had with it, and this is why I'm doing a video on this. When I started watching it, I had not seen spoilers. I had stayed away from I do a good job of avoiding spoilers for certain movies. I'm like, I don't want to know what happens. So, I had avoided spoilers, but I kind of wish that I had found out about trigger warnings because there are definitely some triggers in this movie that are not expressed in trailers, that are not expressed even in the idea of the movie and everything. So it's these little kids are being taken by the grabber, which is kind of a lame name, but I get it. So Ethan Hawke, I think, does a good job as the foreboding villain. However, the issue I had with it was the main characters, who are both very good kid actors, and especially the sister. She's absolutely lights out fantastic. She does her part so well. Very bright future for her should she continue to pursue the whole acting thing, right? You never know. Some kids they drop out early and some don't. But as solid of a job as they did, I did not know going into this that the father of the main characters was going to be as much of a, and I don't know a nice way to say it, so prick is the term I'm going to use, because I did not realize just how objectionable the father in this movie was going to be. And then what drives me nuts, and again, I'm going to try to avoid spoilers a bit, but they really glossed that over at the end. They gloss that over. Like this is a guy who is seen in parts of this movie, and I mean seen, beating his children. And it's made pretty clear that this is his MO. This is how he behaves. And these kids are terrified of their father. So for me, I was having not flashbacks, but it definitely jogged some memories. Um, I know for my wife, she wasn't all that impressed with that either. And I let her know after the movie, I said, I didn't know that was in there. If I had known, I would have said something before the movie started to kind of prepare her for what we were about to watch. And then there's the part where I'm asking myself, but is it a good movie? So the idea is that, this kid's in this room in a basement, and eventually the grabber's gonna off him, right? He has done this with other kids. And those kids communicate with Finney, the main character, via a phone on a wall, which is not attached to anything. But it rings, and he answers it. And the only other one that hears the phone ring is the grabber. And they don't really get into why, and it's a question that was debated by myself and by my wife. And my feeling on this was these kids are trying to warn other kids about what's going to happen and what they can do to get out and save their lives. And for him, I feel like they're phoning him to taunt him, to make him snap in a bit of a different way, and then maybe talk him into ending his own existence as a way of ending the problem, right? The issue I had with it was that each of these kids were doing things that I was ahead of the movie. We'll put it that way. So I did this to try to escape, and I'm like, I know what that's setting up. I did this to try to escape. I know what that's setting up. I did this. And then you get into where one of the kids is showing him how to fight. And for some reason in that moment I was like, this is kind of goofy. This part of the movie feels kind of goofy. And I couldn't shake that feeling. And that was where I kind of was like, I mean, it was almost like they had this movie tale that had a just a dark core, this dark, and that can lead to a dark finish, right? Especially as a horror movie. But it's like they pivoted late in the script. It's how I felt like. I was like, okay, so this seems a little too sunshine even ending. At least for me. I thought, and I'm not saying that I wanted anything bad to happen to any of these kids or anything, but I did feel like the ending was kind of like, well, case closed. Good thing we got that done. And I kind of felt like the tone at the end clashed with the rest of the movie. Um, I didn't think you needed the tearful reunion with the dad. Put it that way. When dad comes in, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm thinking, dude, come on. Come on. Um, the way that that character was written up until then, it would have been more in line for the character to say, I can't believe you got taken. I can't believe you were this stupid. Um, haven't I told you not to talk to strangers? Why did I tell you this for all these years? Because this is set in 1979. This is the height of stranger danger, don't talk to strangers. I did not buy that the dad would just be grateful and not chat. Like, I grateful, yes, but I also felt like he would chastise the kid. And that there'd be this element of, but when you get home, and there were moments too where when the police are doing their investigation and the dad's doing his not good things. I'm doing my best to edit this so that I don't have to worry about either a yellow dollar sign next to this video, or I don't have to worry about just straight up, flat out YouTube saying you can't monetize that. You got to watch what you're saying. Um, but I kept waiting for the police to figure it out. I thought, the police, even back in the 70s, might be able to figure out something's up with this dad. And maybe this house isn't quite as idyllic. And the heartbreaking part was because, again, I'm in the age range that would remember 1979. When screaming and yelling was happening and you knew that bad things were happening in the house next door, you didn't tell anybody. You didn't. Um, so for me, it kind of transported me back to a bad time from my childhood where my parents would be going at it and I might have to jump in the middle because I know we're alone. We were in a trailer park. There's trailers all the way around us, but essentially I'm on my own. There's a moment in this movie where the son looks at the dad and I got chills. I was like, I know that look. I gave my dad that look. That was the day that it was like, never again. I am never going through this crap again. That's it. And from that day going forward, I always had a wall between myself and my father so that he couldn't hurt me. And I obviously don't mean a real wall, but at the same time, when I had the chance to be away from him and live on my own, yeah, yeah, that was what I wanted to do. That was my plan, was to not live with my father. And I definitely, when I was a kid, I would go for sleepovers to a friend of mine, like it's usually Chris's house. I can say Chris because there were so many Chris's I went to school with. Good luck tracking down which one that is. But I would usually go to Chris's house on Friday night and I'd be there till Sunday night. And that was part of the reason why, because Chris's parents got along. At the very least, there was no arguing and fighting. And I could talk to his dad. I could talk to his mom. There was no drinking. There was nothing that, you know, bothered me. So I would spend weekends at my friends' houses. I would come home on Friday, grab a change of clothes, and just go for the weekend. And that'd be it. Like, so when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, I really am identifying with what this kid's going through a lot. So this is where at the end of the movie, when the dad's just, I love you and everything, I'm like, you know what? When I went through some tough times as a kid, and it was nothing like that, but it's there was this self-absorption that I would have to deal with, where no matter what the issue was, it would be twisted to be about him. And I'd be like, wait, we weren't talking about you. Why is this conversation suddenly about you? And then I would have to argue with him, which as a kid I shouldn't have been arguing with my dad, because that's a position I shouldn't have been in. And this movie definitely took me back to it. And I kind of thought to myself, like, man, if I was watching my little sister go through that, I don't think I'd stand and watch what was going on. And I think it would have escalated. So yeah. But I know it was hard for Yvonne to watch all of that as well. She did not have a fantastic childhood herself with some of the stuff. And so that was tough. And so I wanted to make this video because the black phone looks like it's just about, the grabber, and he's taking kids and what's happening. And then these kids are, communicating with this other kid through the phone to try to save his life. And that is the crux of the story. But my gosh, just the sheer amount of awfulness these main characters go through before the abduction takes place is awful. And it was hard for me. Whoever wrote the movie has been through something. You can't write that without having experienced it. At least I don't think so. And again, the ending to me didn't feel earned. Because up until that moment, there had never been a moment where I felt like the father had any kind of remorse, that the father had any kind of crisis of conscience. He was just awful to his children. And so that tearful moment at the end, I was like, whatever. I don't think so. And I couldn't shake that. So I wanted to make a video about that today. I know it might seem like an odd one to make, but I have been wanting to make this one for a while, to be honest, since I watched it. And this is the first time where I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to make this video today, because I'm having kind of a stressful day today. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I'll talk about that, because it's kind of a dark and depressing topic. But hey, it's just one. It's been a day. I tell you, it's been a day. But anyways, thank you guys so much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you've not done so already. Your support's greatly appreciated, though. And as I said in one of the hockey videos I made today, on a day like today where it's kind of a lot, that it really does help to be able to do videos and talk to all you fine people on the internet. So thank you guys so much for sort of a form of therapy that I've had for quite some time now. But let me know your thoughts. If you watched The Black Phone, were you bothered by any of it? My other, and again, I don't want to spoil things, but my other issue was phones back then were really solid. I don't know how that would work as a weapon. So let me know your thoughts about that. You'd have to be about my age, I think, to remember those big rotary phones. I don't know that you could get enough heft with a phone, like with the receiver. Like if you pull that big phone off the wall, hell yeah, that could break through the walls. But just the receiver, I'm not sure. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, as I said. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I will talk to you again soon.